So I will talk about next 10 minutes, especially technology and small and medium-sized enterprise contingency, like in how we can see the sustainability for small businesses. And if you can see, just a few minutes ago, my ex-colleague also talked about the Saudi Arabia, especially SMEs in the tourism sector and so many other countries talking about the small businesses. And actually, small businesses is actually our heart. If you think about the all big MNC, multinational organization, we always getting the better service from them, but we always forget to our small businesses. So that is actually my research at the moment in the UK, trying to understand how technology actually disturbing or destroying their ambition, especially the small businesses, how they can run the business after COVID. So there is a witness of all of us in the COVID time. We had a lot of disturbance and disruption by the COVID, and especially the small businesses in many countries could not survive. So this research is actually trying to understand that after COVID, how the small businesses in UK to running their business at the moment in compare with the technology intervention. As you know, most of the companies nowadays obviously running based on the technology. If they have a technology, better technology, they can do the best job in the market and the competition. So here we can see, like in the second paragraph, some of the technology we can use for SMEs is actually artificial intelligence, data analytics. We are talking mobile apps, social media, e-commerce platform, and digital marketing. But the question is, how many small businesses actually do understand those technologies? And this is the question we are discussing in this conference, especially trying to understand. We are actually related or familiar with the technology. The reason, because either we are business person or we are academician or policymaker. When we can look at the small businesses who are actually sitting in the village, there is no education in properly getting for his or her business to be uplifting or skill up, what we can do or how they can survive. So I think this is the very important issues for this conference and the future as well, how we can make our understanding for the small businesses they can sustainable in longer time. No matter whatever they are sitting in the world, I think out of 10, 7 businesses already collapse or going to be collapse every 3 years because they cannot survive. The reason they cannot survive is the challenges in here you can see in the screen. Obviously, one is the cash flow management. All small businesses actually having a problem with cash flow. Another thing is obviously the competition. They don't actually survive because of the big competition in the market. Then is the talent management, because either they are working in the single person, or the mom and dad, or husband or wife, brother, sister, or 2 friends. So their human capital is very limited. So that is one of the issues in there. Regulatory compliance, in sometimes, as I said, like, and they are not educated. So there is a lot of rule and regulation changing every time, especially after COVID. There is a lot of thing changes, and a lot of a small business cannot cope with it. Even they cannot learn obviously the language that they have to read the policy and to apply these things. So that is one of the issues. Then is the most important thing is the digital transformation. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, that the big data, we are talking the artificial intelligence, we are talking of the application of the digital technology application like a mobile app and all sort of thing. A lot of small businesses cannot afford or cannot apply it in the real world. So we want to see how they can actually use their market acquisition, how they can actually compete themselves in the real world. And then managing growth is one of the issues, because a lot of their cash flow is actually coming from their own pocket. So they're just taking money from the cash and then spending, and then later on they cannot know how they can actually expansion of their business. So in that case, how are the technologies actually challenging the world of the COVID, after COVID time or post-COVID? We saw the business disruption. The one question I'm asking to audience, obviously you've seen many countries, the Uber as a taxi company, as a Uber from sitting in the California in the headquarters in somewhere in USA. And many countries, they are doing their Uber taxi company by the application, through the application. Now, this is obviously good for many people. Obviously, we cannot say that is a bad thing, but if you look at the lot of a small taxi company in your home country, because of Uber, they cannot survive. They cannot actually run it. So this is one of the example business disruption, like a small taxi company could not survive because the big company is the market, and they are using their application, and they can actually take the biggest profit and biggest share to the market. And that will be the one of the thing we need to understand, that integration of the cloud computing. Obviously, everything is in the cloud, how they can using the data. A lot of small businesses, if you go to the corner shop in your country, or anybody is running the tea stall or a small shop, they don't know actually how many customers they are selling in the day, or how many customers in the monthly or weekly or yearly. So this is one of the actually issues in a big data, that they cannot understand then how they can analyze the data to make themselves to make more sustainable in the future. Then yesterday also talked a couple of people, actually, especially Professor Anderson, talking about the in the two things, like an operational mechanism, especially when the company running the business. If you are thinking about the big company, obviously they have a setup, they have actually department or operation management or operational side. But when you're talking the small business, they don't know actually who is going to operate. And I don't mean like an open and close. Think about the buying, think about the marketing, think about the accounting, everything actually they're doing in the one person. So that is the actually problem in the human interaction. And that is the reason we have to think about how that human and internet or technology is actually working for a small business. Do we need to support them throughout their journey, or they have to work themselves? So this is the question for everybody, especially policymakers who are actually thinking for the sustainable development, and especially we are in the sitting of the heart of the United Nations, that we need to think about how we can actually support our small businesses, and where they are actually heart of our main supplier in the real world. Now, we also talking about SMEs digital transformation. In this case, you can see like we are talking about the digital transformation is a very easy job. Like in big company, they can transforming everything. After COVID, they are buying a lot of equipment, a lot of lab they develop, a lot of money they spend for digitalization. However, if we think about the small businesses who have only probably monthly 2,000 revenue, can they afford those things? Of course, it's difficult for them. They may be trying for this, but they cannot afford it. So this is the question we have to think about, how we can actually making some kind of affordability for a small businesses, no matter where they are sitting. As I mentioned, it is actually global issue. It is actually our everybody issue to solve this issue for the small businesses in any countries they are running their business. Now, why we think about digitalization? Now, many countries actually thinking the countries what is called centralization or decentralization. When we talk these things, what we mean, we are trying to understand like how SME and big company can work individually. However, when we talk digitalization, it is actually common for both parties, MNC and SMEs. Now, digitalization is actually work together in some reason, but a small business cannot work together because they are very small. They don't have a big network system. Their development and skill is very limited. That is the reason most of them are failure. So we are talking about their failure means technology failure because they cannot use the technology. So we have to think about, are they actually using the advantage of the technology in the current environment? And if they're using, how they can use it and how much they are getting advantage? If not, how the digital technology can improve their quality, quantity, and the growth. In that question note, I want to see like how the challenges they can cover. I'm jumping few slides because I want to just summarizing. For example, one of the example is here, selling, buying online. Now, everybody can see that after COVID, a lot of young people become a richer, honestly speaking. My lot of students honestly become a millionaire. Couple of people I know very well, because of they don't have a business, they don't have a location, they're just selling, buying from online. Now, question is then everybody cannot do it. So we have to think about in a small businesses, how they can selling and buying their product, how they can marketing, how they can use technology. And those things need to be questionable for every policymaker and educator in a home country to understand how they can support to this thing for the small businesses. Now, those are, as I said, like example of digital transformation or digital things. But honestly speaking, many small businesses in the world, if you can ask those things, they said, what is this? They may be thinking we are doing funny thing for them. However, they need to understand those things. So in that case, what we have to do, we have to make them skill up. We have to think about, this is the slide 2 minutes I will take and then I will finish it. So this is actually the digital dark side framework of SMEs. Now, when we talk with the dark side, we are mean here that everybody can not see those things. Some of people can see it, some of people cannot see it. That is actually dark side explanation. So we have to be understood that if something is behind the scene, if some hiding thing is happening, how we can explore those things for our SMEs. How can we actually introduce this thing to our small businesses to identify their lacking, their challenges, and their opportunity. So these three things need to be interconnectivity between their workplace, between themselves. And then you can see here, obviously, the safe, legal, and confidence, obviously online. Now, a lot of businesses actually now doing by bank transfer. Now think about a lot of small businesses, even they don't have a bank account. And it looked like a funny here, but honestly speaking, I originate from Bangladesh. I know that a lot of small businesses, they still don't have a bank account. So how they can do this thing? Digital transformation, one point is fintech, actually digitalization for the banking system, because everything is in the app. Then is coming to the, obviously we are talking about the GDPR, like in people confirmation, this saving their name, email, and all sort of thing. Then we are talking about the, obviously tracking system, that do they actually have a tracking information, like where is the supplies and where the product coming from and so on. And finally, we are talking about the how much they have knowledge to know how to solve their problem. And as small businesses is really having a lot of problem, but they cannot solve it because the resource is very limited. They cannot understand where is the problem started and where it will be ending. So in that case, we have to think about, do the government, policymaker, educator, business people can support them, can give them hand to make them sustainable development strategy, to understand that small business should not die. We can give them a more opportunity, more hope to support their activities, and that is why we can actually make them sustainability. And that is the actually conference today we are talking, how we make our sustainable goal, especially to this conference, we are talking of the 17 point. And I think one of the things is sustainable development. And this is the all we need to be understood, that how we can supporting and how we can benefit it from our small businesses. And they are actually our heart, and they are actually supporting in our big company and the society. So thank you very much. And I hope you have some questions later on. Thank you.